So it's going to be our pleasure to end this session. I think there were great conversations this morning. And so we are between you and lunch, so bear with us. It's going to be fun. So my name is Benjamin. I'm a senior partner at McKinsey, and I co-lead our global initiative on GenAI for Telco. And with me, we have great speakers. We have Elena from Telefonica Tech. She leads the AI and business division for Telefonica Tech with cloud also. We have Raul. So Raul is, the global CTO for Nagarro, and has a lot of experience in implementing this type of solutions in different industries. And we have Lila, and Lila is global business development for NVIDIA, with a lot of experience also in the telco sector. So GenAI, as we heard this morning, is an incredible disruption. In a period of just months, we had multiple solutions, new impacts, and tremendous capabilities. MGI, McKinsey Global Institute, estimates that GenAI can actually bring 4 trillion of value to global economy in 10 years. So it's quite an impressive opportunity, let's say. And so I would start with Lila, from NVIDIA, to give us a bit of a perspective of the big macro environment. Is this a reality? Is this even economically feasible? Should we be excited, or should we, just think that this is buzz?
This is a reality. And it's a very exciting reality. So maybe we take a couple of step back and kind of talk about why is that so exciting, and why are telco adopting, and what's the opportunity? So I think Gartner just published a research when they're showing that telco is the #1 industry adopting AI. The question is why? Why is it? Telcos are usually not an early adopter, but this time we're seeing it. I think the answer is the robustness of the potential. So GenAI can do mainly 3 things to any enterprise. The first thing is that it can help you serve your customer better. So last year we talked about the GenAI potential in customer experience. GenAI can help you run your business smoother. And this year you're hearing a lot about the network operations, how you can help productivity with employees as well. And the third thing it could do is it can help you rethink your product. So if you walk around today in Mobile World Congress show, you'll find tons of examples where AI is now foundation in the RAN. It helps you think about the product differently, right? And as you start thinking about the product differently, now you're asking yourself, can a network be only network, or can network also be an AI and network? So there is a potential to converge compute and AI and network together, and that's where telco sits. I think there is another big opportunity and very exciting time where there is a chance to reclaim back, telco can reclaim back some lost opportunities a while back. Governments are coming to the market with funding for AI Act. The EU just announced 200 billion of investments. Canada, Japan, you name them. And the governments are saying, look, I need the sovereign AI. Who are good partners in the market that can help ingest AI into that local markets? And telcos are looked as good partners. So there are 14 telcos announced today. There's more to come that are stepping up to provide AI to the market. Call it AI factory, sovereign AI. So it's a totally new revenue stream that was never seen before. So big picture, it's here, it's a proven technology, and later on we'll talk about a couple examples in ROI.
Super. I think this is a good segue to Telefonica Tech. Can you tell us a bit about your experience and where do you see opportunities?
So yes, well, very nice to be here one more year, and I cannot agree more what Leila has said about the telco industry, that's for sure, and Telefonica is applying AI internally for all these use cases. but we also are helping other companies to extract value out of artificial intelligence, not just generative AI, also the traditional machine learning that still has a lot of room for generating value, and the combination with other technologies, clouds, cybersecurity, Internet of Things, etc. And we are also very excited about the transformative power of generative AI, is especially when you are able to integrate it in the workflows of the company, when you are able to go from the proof of concepts to really industrialize use cases. We are seeing that in 2024 there were a lot of experimentation, was perfect because most companies understood what were the sweet spots of using generative AI, and now the challenge that we are feeling with all the companies is that they are trying to industrialize these solutions, and it's not that easy. You really need to have a journey, and that's where we are helping the companies, because you need to think about a flexible technology stack that you can integrate with your legacy systems. It's also very important to integrate with your own data. You need to take into account that it's a change management process, so you need to retrain your employees, and of course there are a lot of challenges regarding IP, security, or ethical issues. So it's important to keep in mind that when you are really extracting the value of technology is when you apply it in your workflows. And the good thing is that when you do it the right thing, when you are able to set realistic expectations, when you have the right metrics, and when you do the things integrated into your strategy, the value generation is really fantastic. And we are seeing this in different companies.
Super. Raul, your firm works globally with lots of different industries and companies. What is your thoughts about this? Is this a reality or is this hype?
Thank you, first of all, for the opportunity. Just a few seconds about us. We are 18,000, 19,000 people globally spread out and listed in Germany. We get to work with some of the amazing companies like yours and others across the globe, and we are fairly diversified. Generative AI is a huge opportunity. I don't think it's something which we can brush under the carpet. I'll just step back and maybe a little bit talk about how do I see it from my eyes. Essentially, what we are talking about is the capability which allows language to talk to data, language to talk to backend infrastructure, language which has the capability to transform the experiences. Now, this is huge. I don't know what was the last time when we opened language talking to data and even machine learning existing models behind the scene. So this is in a lot of ways a profound movement, and in terms of an improvement, also in terms of the kind of capability it introduces. From a consumer perspective, it's a game changer. It allows them to express what they need from products in very, very different, unique ways. It allows customers to express their product aspirations in very unique ways. So just imagine the kinds of experiences we can design across industries. And this is just a start that we are seeing today. For example, I'll take one or two examples. And since we get to work with across industries, so I'll also take some cross-industry examples. When people are buying car today, the car makers are not just looking at selling a car or just doing a transaction, and the consumer is also looking for some amazing experiences. So we are designing interfaces where people say, hey, my vacation is coming and I want to take my vehicle to snow mountains. Now, help me understand what kind of configurations do I need for my car. Now, this is not just a simple language that we are talking about. We are talking about an intent. We are talking about understanding the consumer need, and then designing the product in very unique ways. Now, part of this can be done using first-party products and services. Part of it needs augmentation from ecosystem providers, service providers. In this example, there could be a custom paint service provider in the local region, which the OEM can partner. So this opens a kind of an amazing portal of sorts where experiences can now be designed in very, very unique ways. So it's an amazing opportunity. Surely it has some steps in terms of what needs to be done from the backend infrastructure side, in terms of data availability, in terms of how do we adopt to local nuances and so on. But it's a huge opportunity.
So 3 yeses. So
And maybe let's give our audience some stats and numbers, because
exactly, I was actually going into that when we were talking before. You were very excited about the examples, so
yes.
let me give you a bit of time now to tell us some really exciting cases. And actually, let's ask to the three of you to give some exciting cases to motivate people.
At the end of the day, we're all about data, right? So let's give data point to make some of the claims. So NVIDIA just published the State of the AI report, which we publish it in the past 2 to 3 years. And one of the things that came up is that 84% of the respondents said that AI is helping them drive new revenue. In fact, 21% of them said it's actually generating more than 10% revenue increase. Right?
Wow.
So that's a big one. Then you have 77% of the responders says AI is helping us do less with more, right? So we can now be more efficient, cut cost, do more with less, and then that gives us the ability to cut cost. So let's give examples on both. MDocs has published, and it's all I'm sharing is public information. MDocs did one of a billing and care agent when they're showing 64 improvement in mean time to resolutions and productivity of an agent. Not only that, it also approved 50% of the NPS score. So yes, I get the cost cut, but look what happens. I can also do revenue. ServiceNow had published work that they've done with BT when they're showing 30% lift in mean time to resolution. Guys, if I can make my agent in a call center work 3x better, that's great. Okay, so we did it on the cost side. Let's look at the revenue generation. So we're seeing AI as a new revenue opportunities for telcos. There are Indosat with Shahabat, they created a model in native language, and that opens up a totally new opportunities for them. Think about opening it to education and government and healthcare. So now you're offering a sovereign cloud with sovereign services to the enterprise community. Telenor announced sovereign AI, and they recently talked about a couple of customers that they onboarded. So I encourage you guys to see it. That's a totally new product to the telco. AI as a service, GPU as a service. We're seeing telcos in Asia offering differentiated services on the data plan. So today, the data plan it comes with what? Text and voice message. What are the AI-powered features that are coming to the market? So we're seeing those coming a lot as well. Think about it as a small business digital agent for after hours, bundled with your data plan as a differentiated services. We're seeing services like real-time transcription and translations. Hey, I'll speak English, you'll speak to me on the other side Spanish, and we'll interact in our native language in real time, all through AI in the middle. Again, differentiated services, ARPU increase in that time. Archetype, for those telco who has IoT business, they're now created a large language model that talks to IoT devices. So think about an IoT device company or connected car company with thousands of SIMs that I can say, hey, show me where this car is roaming right now around the world. I don't need to go look at a report with thousands of SIMs, right? So the examples are a lot. I think they will come more as telcos and companies like Telefonica are getting more in scale and more encouraging to say, hey, we are seeing the benefit, but those are coming in with some data proof as well.
It also changes a lot the interface, no? So.
Correct.
And I don't know, let's start again with you, Elena. An exciting story, something to excite the crowd here.
Yeah, no, I think the examples that I was saying
this was already very exciting.
Let me complement.
I was about to say, you're not excited about that.
A couple of them that are different. For instance, something that really excites us is that generative AI is also helping public administration to get into the AI wave that they were lagging behind. and is increasing the productivity and providing better service to the citizens. For instance, we are doing a project with the General Attorney Office in Spain to help them with generative AI to reduce dramatically the response time of asylum requests. They were a bottleneck there, and now the general attorneys are receiving like a draft of the answer. Of course, they need to review it, but the satisfaction of the citizens is increasing, and the response time is being reduced. Another example is everything to do with the people that needs to be like this. All the companies that have people in place, for instance, because they have equipments in the households and they need to review and with generative AI with a very easy interface, you can have access to all the information about all the different equipments and solve the problem in a much easier way. And beyond text, for instance, with the multimodal models, we are also helping some advertising campaigns companies like to make sure that they can have an initial draft of the content in a very easy way, and how to adapt it to the different formats, following all the restrictions that the company has. And this is again very quick, and it's a way of increasing the revenues of the company. Just to mention a few.
And also, Telefonica Tech is a way for telcos to diversify.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Can you elaborate, just tell a bit to the audience about Telefonica Tech and what you're doing with industries?
Yeah, that's why I'm not talking about the telco, what we do internally, the Telefonica, that of course we use it internally in Telefonica Tech. What we do is provide digital services to enterprises in Europe and Latin America, combining these technologies, IoT, you mentioned, cloud, cybersecurity, blockchain, and of course AI. So we are helping with our internal experience and all these technologies to the companies, both private and public administrations, to really extract value out of these technologies.
Super. Raul, I think you have a tough challenge to surpass these two.
So I'll take some of the examples that what we are implementing. One of the examples on the telecom side, and very interesting one, we are helping telecom companies, especially the revenue side of the group, to look for more targeted opportunities in terms of cross-selling and upselling the exit products and services. Now, typically the process would have been look at consumption data, look at bandwidth usage data, the device, how much number of devices in household, and create clusters in household, then create some kind of a heat map in terms of certain affinities and so on. Now, this is a guided analytics process where a bunch of machine learning models are kind of working, but in step-by-step ways. Now, what we are doing is we are deploying agents to kind of automate the entire thing. So imagine a next best agent going and talking to a knowledge graph, retrieving the entire household device usage profiles, and you passing on that to a promotion engine in a very, very autonomous ways, and then not just fetching certain promotions which are relevant in that context, but then running a simulation or a what-if capability as a next step to see what's the impact on the ROI, what's the impact on the attribution, factoring in the attribution elements, what is the impact on the ROI? And then essentially goes back to the salesperson or the sales manager in that specific territory and gives a nudge. Here are a few targeted strategies you can experiment or you can consider to become as a base. And this is exactly where we see the future is, where autonomous agents go and interact with your CRM systems, look at your product analytics systems, look at the consumption data, run some what-if scenarios, and this whole orchestration is only going to happen when we expose interfaces which are understandable by language, interfaces which are understandable by AI, and for that needs, for all of this, there is an amazing opportunity from a system integration and transformation perspective, and that's exactly the work we do. So this is one example. On the other side, where we also use some of the NVIDIA services for on the consumer-facing ordering systems. So typically an ordering system would be you go punch an order on a kiosk and it's a transaction system. What we are seeing is, in case of, for example, a food or a beauty, people are expressing the desires and not just a transaction. I want to look like blah, or I want to be, I have a fitness goal and I have a period of X number of days, and in that X number of days, given my fitness goal, help me curate my entire fitness strategy, including what food do I eat, what fitness providers do I go in, what exercises do I do, what nutrition and wellness do I, and that needs a ecosystem of sorts to come along. Also needs capabilities from, we use Omniverse in some cases to drive the end experience in a form of a digital avatar to take care of all of this. But behind the scene, the whole agentic integration and the workflows, these are huge opportunities. I could not have done something of this sort 2 years back with the kind of simplicity that I'm able to do today. And that's, to me, what makes me exciting.
Super. You've mentioned ecosystems a couple of times, so I'm going to follow up with the next question, which is, all the things that you're talking about, they seem quite complex, right? So, and there's like basically two main philosophies in the market. So one is, we should build it in-house and we should have some kind of sovereignty over it and some kind of IP. And there's others that are thinking more about ecosystems and partnering. So the question is a bit, where do you draw the line? What is the ideal, mix between doing it in-house and getting the right talent and doing it with a partner? Do you have a perspective on that?
Sure. So typically in our solution and consulting stage, first thing we try to do is prove the value from the use case. And in those stages, we typically, as much as possible, try to leverage what already exists from a foundational models perspective, from hyperscaler perspective, but then do things like localization. We have a specific service which we call as brand tone as a service. Essentially, that's to make sure the marketing and the product tones are embedded into the communications of these things. So those are the kinds of pieces where we would do the build. For the rest, like foundational architecture, the hyperscaler infrastructure, those are the pieces I would always typically in the initial phases try to go and try to partner. Now on the build size, there is this whole integration infrastructure, there is this whole localization infrastructure, which I just talked about, like brand tone as service. Those are the amazing opportunities to consider build, because nobody can understand your context, your data, your product better than the enterprise itself, and that's the whole opportunity to make sure the use case doesn't ends up to be like another chatbot or another computational system which doesn't have the personality. How do you bring your product personality, the brand personality into the solution? To me, that's the build part.
Super.
It is not an or, it's an and. We just, again, the State of the AI survey, 49% of, 40 plus, let's say, it said that they will use the ecosystem and take agents from the ecosystem. Think about agents that are built into the platform, into Salesforce.com, into ServiceNow, into Amdocs platform, into SAP. So agent will be in every platform, right? So that's part of that ecosystem. They will come with, right? Because they need to enhance and drive value. And then 40-some also percent say, look, we're also going to build on our own. It doesn't contradict, it's an end. Why would you want to build? You want to build to get your skills. You want to build to then perhaps then monetize. But more importantly, I want you to think of the world of multi-agents, right? Digital agents are going to be your digital employees. You can build to build your digital HR. How do I make an agent from ServiceNow talk to an agent on SAP? How do I take an agent that's talking to my network with customer experience? How do I create those teams right, of digital agent to give me the best output. Those could be unique places where not only you need to know the context of the data, but also the intricacy of how all of it should come as a flow, right? Agents are reasoning, thinking, doing the process, so you want to build that into the flow. So again, this is not, I should build or I should partner. Yeah. It's an or, it's very synergetic.
Super.
Just if I can add a minute to this. So I think very, I think she has touched a very important point. Interoperability across different foundational providers.
Yes.
A lot of clients come and say, today OpenAI is doing good, tomorrow Gemini is doing good. How do I design system which can interoperate and all that stuff? Now, if you have to interoperate, you have to externalize certain things. You have to externalize your context, you have to externalize your knowledge, you have to externalize your grounding pipelines, your responsible AI pipelines, your security pipelines. Now, all of these things are something you will have to build. For REST, yeah, and then she talked about cross-systems agents, but the endpoints could be still leveraged. So that's a partnership and the buy part of the equation.
Very interesting.
And
Elena,
in our case, it's the same. It's also a hybrid approach. We also, we have a strategic partnership with the hyperscalers and global partners, etc., because it's important. We won't build an LLM or GPUs. But what the customers value from us is that we have an agnostic approach, and we're going to recommend to each customer the best technology under their circumstances. And what we have internally is expertise. We have more than 400 AI specialists from data science, data engineers, data architects, data governance, etc. And we also develop specific platforms where we can add value. For instance, we have a Telefonica Tech Gen AI platform that is helping companies to accelerate the deployment of generative AI in a multi-approach that is, it works in every cloud, is multimodal, and it helps companies to deploy agents in a very easy way, and also to keep track of the cost and make sure that they are following the ethical issues. So internal resources and partnering with the right is a mix. It's a hybrid approach as well.
Best of breeds. Or
exactly, best of two worlds.
So we only have 1 minute left. I think the conversation is quite interesting and there's a lot. Final question. Let's think about the future. What's the greatest unlock that we might see in the next 6 to 12 months that will actually drive this forwards? Is it about technology? Is it about change management? Is it about adoption, about being more bold? I would ask each one of you to kind of give your ideas on what you think is the greatest unlock. And let's start where we started.
I need to look at my crystal ball. Okay, so I'll say two things. You'll see more tools to come and create this interoperability between the agents. How would agent talk to each other? Agent registry, tools to help do that, right? So I think that's something you could definitely count on. I'll say, NVIDIA GTC is coming. We'll see how issues like that needs to be addressed. The other thing, it's the AI native in the network, specifically for telco, AI for the network. Mm-hmm. It's. I think the next month, actually in this show and in others, you'll hear how more precise, how more integrated would it be, right? There's a monster of capital that's called network, and an AI for the network to get spectrum efficiencies is going to be much more robust.
I fully agree, and telcos spend 20% in some cases on networks, so this is quite a huge opportunity for us to get more ROI from those assets.
Absolutely.
Raul, you're going to...
Yeah, very briefly. In my experience, when I'm talking to some of the amazing companies and leaders, it's all about humanizing. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, technology, it doesn't matter from an end consumption perspective how good it is, if it is not relevant, if it's not something which I can make sense. Humanizing the whole experience is going to be huge as a trend in terms of how these solutions will shape up. Humanizing has several aspects in terms of the experience, in terms of understanding the context, in terms of the value, but humanizing is going to be a huge theme as we walk into the future, and also going to shape up how solutions will evolve and iterate.
Super.
I agree with humanizing, but just to say something different, it was already mentioned, but I think the next wave is going to be the multi-agents. So different agents collaborating, collective learning is going to really make an impact, but it also have additional challenges because you cannot get wrong, so you need to, there is no way back, but I think it's going to be transformative in many industries, and more in the longer term, probably the quantum AI.
Yeah.
There will be also additional use cases, maybe in the healthcare space, etc. But it's a little bit, I don't know.
Then we'll come to the Quantum AI Summit and not
Yeah.
the Gen AI
Maybe
Summit.
next year we'll talk about that.
So again, I think this was very interesting. Thank you so much for spending the time with us. And now you are free to go to lunch, I think.
Yeah.
And I would like to thank my great guest speakers. You've been quite insightful. And by the way, they're going to be around. So if you have any questions, feel free to network. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.